Creating innovative uses of technology, online presentation, an individual project. Screencasting and digital scrapbooking. Hello, my name is Giss, and I would like to take this opportunity to explain to you my rationale behind developing the lesson plans that I'm going to be sharing with you today. I'm actually going to be using these lesson plans in my own consulting and educational development business, and I'll be reaching out to distance learners and teaching them how to create an e-scrapbook, highlighting their academic journey through high school graduation to showcase at their graduation open house or as documentation of their history as a keepsake for the rest of their lives. They can share these with their future children, with family, and friends. Once the learners have viewed the demonstration screencast, they will be charged with the task of creating their own personal e-scrapbook, highlighting their monumental personal events beginning in kindergarten and those events and academic achievements all the way through their high school graduation. They can use these scrapbooks as historical archives through high school. Screencasts in traditional and in distance setting can be used for learning support. They are used as learning resources and to learn tasks. Instructors routinely use them digitally, creating recordings of instructional activities performed on a computer screen. Screencasts provide engaging, student-centered learning while enhancing the learning experience. Now I would like to review the lessons with you. Lesson number 1 is going to be for the learners to view a screencast demonstrating digital scrapbooking. And lesson number 2 will be creating an e-scrapbook. Now I'd like to take you to the Giss wiki. Here we have the Giss Creating Project, and this is where I'd like to go over with you exactly what it is that the lessons are going to be reviewing. As I just explained the rationale a few moments ago, we are going to move to Lesson 1 now. With Lesson 1, we're going to view a screencast demonstrating digital scrapbooking. The brief description of the lesson plan is that we are going to use this lesson to actively engage students learning by showing distance learners how to create e-scrapbooks. These are going to highlight their personal academic journey from birth through their high school graduation using digital cameras, digital pictures, Google Drive, Padlet, YouTube, Google Docs, and Screenomatic. This case will discuss both the pros and the cons for using screencasts in general, and for learners, and as well as for the instructors. The effective instructional strategies which are used in screencasting will also be detailed in this case. Now, I would like to talk about the technology and resources involved in this project. As you can see, the necessary technology and resources are for the instructors, which are going to include intermediate computer application knowledge. They're going to need to know how to use Screenomatic, Padlet, Google Forms and Drive, YouTube. And the instructors are also going to need internet access, computer access, as well as a digital camera or a device with a digital camera. As far as the learners are concerned, they are also going to need to have internet access, and they're going to need to have computer or a technology device that has a digital camera. with it. They are going to need basic computer and application knowledge. They're going to need to know how to use YouTube, Padlet, as well as Google Docs. Now, next you may ask what skills and knowledge and pedagogy are required of teachers. Well, they're going to need to have intermediate computer skills, knowledge of how to create and use forms in Google Docs. They're going to need basic knowledge of how to create and use Padlets, to use and view YouTube files, to use a digital camera and upload pictures to a computer or a device for sharing, such as Google Drive, or printing. And they're also going to need to have basic knowledge of how to create screenshots using Screencast-O-Matic. What prior skills and knowledge are required of students? They're going to need basic use of computer or device with internet access, basic use of digital camera, basic knowledge of how to gain internet access, and basic knowledge of how to complete a Google form. Next, we're going to discuss what are the students asked exactly to do. And they're going to be asked, first of all, to view the screencast content as many times as they need in order to understand it to create a digital scrapbook. Upon completion of viewing the screencast, they're going to complete any assessment summaries that are provided by their instructor using Google Docs. Third, they're going to post 3 questions that they would like to have answered, derived from the screencast about digital scrapbooking, to the SOAR Screencast Questions Padlet page. And lastly, they are going to be asked to participate in the course discussion on SOAR Screencast Padlet questions. What are the procedures of the project, or the steps that they're going to have to take? First, they're going to have to turn on their computer or device, and then they're going to need to connect it to the internet. They're going to have to watch the digital scrapbooking screencast on YouTube as directed by their instructor. Then they will complete the Google form assessment shared with them by the instructor to assess their understanding of the knowledge. And once they've completed that, they're going to go to Padlet.com and they're going to post 3 questions that they have about digital scrapbooking on the SOAR Screencast Padlet page created for this assignment by the instructor. Lastly, they're going to participate in the course discussion on the SOAR Screencast Padlet questions. Now, the next question you may ask would be, what are the advantages of this project? Well, I'm going to discuss them in general, for learners, as well as for instructors. So first, in general, screencast can incorporate many multimedia elements such as graphics, music, audio, sound effects, and text. Screencasts appeal to many learning modalities, making any topic engaging. Screencasts provide a more effective learning experience by adding corresponding audio components. They can be downloaded for later viewing or delivered via streaming. And screencasts also provide a great sense of engagement between the instructor and learner, as if they were looking over their shoulder as they would in an actual classroom. Now, let's talk about what the advantages are for the learners. For the learners, screencasts provide learning by example. Screencasting is learning-centered, allowing them to view the screencast from anywhere at any time, and the beauty of it is that they can view it as often as they need to in order to comprehend the content at their own pace. Screencasts are excellent resources for those who need a visual as well as oral explanation of presented content. Screencasts can be very beneficial to students with auditory handicaps and visual learners. Screencasts can be easily viewed with the web browser that has a media player. Now, for instructors, what are the advantages? Screencasts provide effective and efficient methods of explaining particular concepts, especially difficult technical ones, presenting narration with PowerPoint presentations, describing step-by-step processes. Instructors can edit screencasts to their desired level of perfection, making it their own for their course. Screencasts can have positive student learning effects by including video-based instruction into online environments, making them pedagogically equivalent to their counterpart of face-to-face instruction. Any learning experience can be personalized using screencasts when the instructor is remote from their learners. Screencasts are great tools to use to teach large, small, or individual groups of learners, showing consistent materials in a fixed presentation in a repeatable form. Now I'd like to go over with you what the disadvantages of this project are. The first disadvantage is going to be that screencast content must be viewed in order for the learner to comprehend the lesson. This requires the students to take charge of their own learning and be self-motivated. Unfortunately, less motivated learners may not view the content on their own. Therefore, they may not be prepared adequately for the in-class or face-to-face participation portion of the lesson. The biggest disadvantage that I have found with screencasting is that there's no interactive component. That's why it's so important for you to have some type of assessment that you do with the students outside of the screencast in order to make sure that they comprehend the content. What types of effective instructional strategies are included? Screencasts can be used for narrated demonstrations, PowerPoint presentations, and tutorials as an effective instructional format. They've been likened to a modern instructional strategy descendant of the instructional film and video. Screencasts have many applications, including, but not limited to, training, teaching, YouTube, selling products, blogging, the learner, and blogging, sorry. In a flipped classroom setting, screencasts work very effectively because they decrease cognitive overload. Learners prior to face-to-face class time are required to view the lesson. That allows the learner to view the content, as mentioned earlier, as many times as they need to in order to understand it. And by completing the viewing beforehand, the instructor is able to use the valuable face-to-face class time for the students or learners to collaborate in groups, doing research and answering questions that tackle those difficult questions that the students may have as they are viewing at home. Lastly, I would like to discuss what the possibilities are that the innovation can be transferred to other teachers, subject content, and different school settings. Well, screencasts are simple educational technology tools which are simple and easy to use. They are remarkable instructional tools which can be integrated across curriculum into many learning activities. Instructors can use them for professional development, online lectures, and reviewing lesson content or a variety of other classroom activities effectively and efficiently. Once again, the flipped classroom is always a great example of how screencasts can be integrated across many curriculum areas because they incorporate a blending of direct instruction with constructivist learning activities. Concerning resources available outside the classroom, they add a visual, active element to learning. The most encouraging possibility is that these tools allow the instructors to provide rich content of the course to distant learners. Anyone who may not be able to attend a presentation and students with disabilities can all benefit from screencasts. Now I'd like to move on to lesson 2, creating an e-scrapbook. A brief description of this lesson is that it's designed for learners to create their own personalized e-scrapbook highlighting monumental personal events and academic achievements throughout their lives. They can use them as historical archives of their lives through high school graduation, and they can create their own e-scrapbook using digital cameras, digital pictures, Google Drive, Padlet, YouTube, Google Docs, and Screen-O-Matic. The learners will directly connect the content because they're creating something of their own. They're creating their own timeline as they want it to be shared. And the project will also create a sense of ownership of their creation due to the time, effort, and the work that they invested in it. The technology and resources involved are a digital camera or device with a digital